It's hard to put a price tag on innovation, particularly in healthcare. That's why a lot of folks are so worried about a new healthcare tax being applied to one of the most innovative new areas of private healthcare. That's the use of medical apps for increasingly busy doctors. You're here to discuss the new tax and how it might affect private practices and your healthcare. Dr. Stephen Greer, he's the Healthcare Channel CEO and healthcare sector analyst. Good to see you, Dr. Greer. Thanks for coming. Okay, first of all, tell us how important medical apps have become in private practice for doctors.
Not yet, but it's right around the corner as the devices improve, and it's really going to be not so much for the doctors but for the patients. So with the Apple wristwatch or the Samsung wristwatch, we're going to be able to monitor heart rate, rhythm, all sorts of glucose, all sorts of things that would normally require a doctor's visit, and that's why there's a $26 billion potential, some analysts say.
$26 billion potential, and again, it could affect the way we receive healthcare in a very positive way. Okay, now, when they came out with these medical devices tax to in part pay for Obamacare, did you ever suspect that medical apps would be considered a medical device to be taxed?
As you remember, the whole law was rushed through at the last minute, and no one even read it before they passed it. So when you thought of medical devices, you thought of traditional hips, knees, coronary stents. Right. No one envisioned this, no. But and the FDA has now put in this role of essentially being the IRS. They won't officially collect the tax, that's the IRS. But if they label something a medical device, then the IRS can go after it. And their interest in these apps is not so much is it unsafe or safe for you, it's should we get the money. It's pure monetary.
The question is, how do you get the money? It's easy to understand how you pay a tax on a medical device, a stent or something. You just add 2.8% onto the price of the stent. But an app is a much harder thing to tax, isn't it?
Well, I imagine you would tax it at the point of sale, iTunes, what have you. And it would be passed on to the retail consumer, the patient, as opposed to the doctor,
But how would the development of apps, as you say, it could turn into a $26 billion industry that could affect healthcare worldwide. How might this discourage those app makers out there who might be thinking of a healthcare app?
Well, they're sitting on the sidelines now because the final guidelines from the FDA will come out within the next few months. And as a result, the House Energy and Commerce Committee had 3 days of hearings on this. So until we know the official rules, developers are not coming out with them. So near term, there's no development.
Okay, there have been hearings on it, and as you say, the healthcare law is a work in progress, so to speak, because people didn't even read the whole thing before they passed it. Is it conceivable that because of these hearings and because of pressure, they may not apply the medical device tax to medical apps?
Possibly, or there'll be what apps will they define as medical devices is the big issue. Is it going to be something like just measuring your heart rate, or is it going to be something really more exotic, like an implantable device that sends a signal to your smartphone? That would be more obviously a medical device. So we don't know those answers yet. Those are coming out with the FDA, and yes, it's all up in the air as we speak. The Senate is having hearings trying to sway the outcome.
Now, there are taxes, and then there are sort of taxes, and a regulation is sort of a tax. You have to spend money on it. The FDA is going to start regulating these medical apps.
Which is a cost and expense.
It's a definite cost and expense. Is there any way that that can be modified by public pressure?
It's the easiest approval platform now, so it's not multi-years like a coronary stent or something, but it still is like 67 days, several $1,000s, which is a lot for some developer in San Francisco or something. So I don't think they can get much easier than that. So there's not much negotiation there. So
we got to leave it at that. But I have to ask just finally: is it possible that pressure, public pressure, people calling their congressman, could hold off the point at which these apps might be taxed to the point where they could do harm to the entire industry?
Well, I believe so, and that's why Congress did what they did last week. So yeah, it's still very much undetermined, yet to be determined.
Dr. Stephen Greer, great to see you, Doctor. Thank you very much for coming. Liz?
David, just